I really enjoyed looking for Mr. Goodbart. Everything about this episode worked for me. This is the 20th episode of the 28th season of The Simpsons, directed by Mike Frank Polcino. I'll get in with Bart's narrative in a moment. But the part of the narrative that I admittedly loved the most involves Pokemon Go. Well, the Simpsons version of Pokemon Go. I have to admit, I kind of downloaded Pokemon Go after watching this. I used to be addicted to it to the point where I made myself delete the app. And I have been Pokemon Go free for 9, 10 months. I watched this episode and downloaded it again. So I love the episode, but let's see how that plays out. But Homer is addicted to this version of Pokemon Go, and I have to say, if you've ever played Pokemon Go, you'll completely recognize it in this. And I think they had a lot of fun. There are various Pokemon parodies. Absolutely loved it. Then we have Bart's narrative, and Bart realizes that if he pretends to be the grandson of various old ladies, he gets a pretty good deal. He gets gifts and candy, and it works out well for him, and it works out well for the grandparents because they either get to show off their perfect grandson, or he accompanies them to places, and it seems like a pretty sweet exchange for everybody involved. Of course, it does raise the moral question of should you pretend to be somebody's grandson just to get things, but then if it's working in their favour as well, who loses? So I like that. I like the fact that it did kind of show Bart starting to wonder if this was the right thing to do. It didn't outright say this is an okay thing to do, but at the same time, it did kind of show that there are benefits for all involved, and it made me think, and I quite liked it. Bart interacted with Skinner's mother. That's not something we see a lot. But of course, Bart and Skinner's mother have a common ground. They both have a love-hate relationship with Skinner. And I rather enjoyed it. Such a great episode. I don't think there's anything about this I didn't like. Very well animated, very creative. I will admit, if I'd never played Pokemon Go, if I didn't understand what on earth they were going on about, I would probably like it a little bit less. But I think that's often the case with certain Simpsons episodes. You need to have a certain knowledge of specific cultural references to understand storylines every now and then, which, on the one hand, works against the show because it could alienate some viewers. But at the same time, if you're a fan of that pop culture reference, then it would work really well in the episode's favour because they tend to do other pop culture things really well, and this is no exception. So for me personally, I absolutely love this episode. I'd be very happy to watch it again. But if somebody says, I've never played Pokemon Go, I didn't really care for the episode, or at least that part of it, I could understand. I could definitely understand that. But for me personally, looking for Mr. Goodbart was absolutely fabulous. Oh, speaking of absolutely fabulous, I completely forgot to mention Jennifer Saunders voices a character in this. She voices one of Bart's fake grandparents called Phoebe, and I loved her character. I thought she was really interesting. Definitely worked very well. Great guest voice there. Ultimately, an episode that I really rather loved.